Thank you, ladies, for the interview. First of all, I want to say I was so moved by the film. Really, thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You still, we have to do a lot regarding representation, Lily, no, on arts, generally speaking. Don't you think so?
Yeah, we're moving in a really good direction. One thing I loved about Fancy Dance and what makes this film stand out in my entire life's work, it's one of the highlights of my career. It was Indigenous people all around. It was a majority Indigenous crew, Indigenous writer, Indigenous director, Indigenous actors. And those on set who were non-Indigenous were great allies, and we're so happy to join in with this story. It was tremendous to work that way. It was revolutionary to work that way. The set calls were translated into the Cayuga language, so the entire cast and crew was learning words in Cayuga and activating them in a set setting and bringing it into a modern context. And that's it sounds sweet maybe at face value, but it's kind of a revolutionary thing to do when the Cayuga language itself has less than 20 living speakers who are first language speakers. That representation, that's what we mean when we say representation matters, because these speakers were our first audience. They saw their language being spoken fluently by a woman of my generation and a girl of Isabel's generation in the home by choice in a multitude of different settings. That's not something you actually see in the world yet. There are language revitalization programs that are creating new fluent speakers. All of them are very young. A lot of Indigenous language revitalization started in the late 90s. Programs really were starting to come together. So my generation was a little on the old side to start picking it up, but Isabel's generation is kind of the first one that is growing with a level of fluency. And as that number grows and as that ease grows, if these kids are seeing themselves alongside the first language speakers in a film, watching a family where they feel represented in a modern setting, it just shows you that this is the world that we want. This is a world that's possible. And that saves a language, saves a culture. And we're at a time in the world right now where we really need those Indigenous knowledges that are embedded in culture to remain intact. It brings a balance to all of us. So representation has really profound ripple effects when you get a chance to tell stories like this. And it's getting better, and it continues to get better when you have it in the hands of Indigenous people. So we're able to be brought inside of this family and experience what the reality is, learn about the hardships and learn about the history through the obstacles the characters are facing just in the given circumstances. It's a remarkable way of reaching people and building that empathy. And I'm grateful that it feels like Killers of the Flower Moon was a tremendous step forward, because audiences got to find out that they actually really want Indigenous story. They want more development of Indigenous characters. They want that world. So I think we're in a good trend. I think we do still have a ways to go, but I think we're going in the right direction.
You know what's incredible about the story, the ending, the answer of your character, it's art. It's a dance. It's not violence. Isabel, what's the biggest lesson learned working with Lily in this movie?
I mean, I think that the subject matters that the film covers, they're so, heartbreaking, and they're devastating, and you can really sit in that when you're on set. But Lily is such a kind and genuine person that I think that really uplifted everybody. It was she has such a welcoming presence that it really makes those moments a lot easier and a lot nicer to be in. You know what I mean? Like, she's just lovely, and I think that that's something that I try to carry with me. And it's so easy to be nice to people, and she's so good at it. So
likewise.
Ladies, well done. Thank you much for the movie.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.